everyone, welcome back. So I've been meaning to do a bookshelf tour for about a month and a half now, so I'm not going to go book by book, but I will explain how I organized it shelf by shelf. So this is what my bookshelves look like from the overview. So my first shelf here has a few of the comic book variants that I have. Wayward, the first Spider-Man, the first Star Wars with Marvel, and then the first Postal. If you haven't read Postal, I would definitely recommend it. It is absolutely amazing and underrated. And I also have my World of Ice and Fire by George R.R. Martin. The next shelf is my adult fantasy. I don't have much, but of course I have A Song of Ice and Fire by George R.R. Martin and the children's book, The Ice Dragon, which was okay. I wouldn't really recommend it. And then the classic Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit by Tolkien. And then we move into my young adult fantasy. Insurgent is here because I didn't have any other room on my dystopian shelf. We have, of course, Sarah J. Maas, Cassandra Clare, Marissa Meyer. And then my young adult fantasy books kind of bleed into my dystopian shelf. Of course, we have the Divergent trilogy, The Hunger Games, Darkest Minds, etc. And then at the end, it just becomes sort of random books. And then we move into one of my favorite shelves, and this is my science fiction / alien shelf. So I put all my more science fiction-y books here. So Alienated by Marissa Meyer, and then Across the Universe by Beth Revis. And then we move into Rick Yancey, The 100, the Glow trilogy. And then we have Iron Man #4, which is a fantastic series that you should definitely read. If you've read the first one and thought it was okay, I urge you to continue because each book gets better and better as it goes on. And the last shelf in this bookcase are my comic books. So I have 2 big bins just full of comics. I have them organized mostly by in alphabetical order, but it's getting kind of messy. And then I have my trade paperbacks where I have Low, Why the Last Man. Most of them are The Walking Dead. I started reading Wonder Woman, which is fantastic, Saga, and then I started picking up Saga in the comic book form, so the rest of them are in here. So this top shelf is just sort of random books, and then I have my covers for my Kobo, and then this begins my Harry Potter shelf, since this stuff doesn't fit on the next one. This is from when I went to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter with my boyfriend, and then Casual Vacancy, and then my copy of Tales of Beedle the Bard. And then here's my Harry Potter shelf. I have all of my Harry Potter Christmas ornaments. I have the Elder Wand as well as Voldemort's wand. Those are replicas. I have all my copies of Harry Potter, even the ones that are just paperback. Okay, so this goes into my Ellen Hopkins collection, all of her young adult and then adult novels. Then it sort of goes into my Veronica Mars collection, since I don't really have anywhere else to put it, Neil Gaiman, and then beginning my vampire shelf. So the shelf is dedicated entirely to my vampire books, so The Vampire Academy by Michelle Mead, Bloodlines, Twilight, and then I just put The Host because it's by Stephenie Meyer and I wanted to keep everything together. So then it goes into my middle grade with Percy Jackson, The Olympians, The Heroes of Olympus, to The Iron Trial by Holly Black and Cassandra Clare, and then Chasing Vermeer, down to The Series of Unfortunate Events and The Golden Compass trilogy by Philip Pullman. And then after the middle grade books, it goes into sort of my darker themed books with the trilogy of The Unbecoming of Mara Dyer, Pretty Girl 13, Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn, and then just random 4 books here with The Maze Runner and then The Witches of East End, since I had nowhere else to put it. Then this is my random books where I had nowhere else to put them, and so it's just kind of a jumble of a bunch of things. I have some non-fiction in here as well as some more of the darker books like the serial killer books, Dexter, and then I have more like funner books like The Night Circus, that awful trilogy, and then just some extra copies that I have. So my top shelf is my adult romance books and then historical fiction. I honestly had nowhere to put them, so I just kind of plopped them up here. This is some of my boyfriend's stuff, but that had nowhere else to go as well. So another one of my favorite shelves, this is my Jennifer Armentrout shelf. I don't own every single book that she has, but I own most of them. So Curse, Don't Look Back, the Covenant series, which is fantastic. I would definitely recommend it. I think this is called the Dark Elements trilogy, I'm not really sure. And then we move into her new adult books, and then of course the Lux series. So the next two shelves are my contemporary. Red Hill is not a contemporary book, but it's by Jamie McGuire, so I kind of put it there. So we have Jamie McGuire, then it goes into the Abby Glines books that I have. I only have a few of them, but I'm working on getting them. They're just really expensive to buy brand new, and it's not really worth it. And then it goes into my Colleen Hoover collection. I'm only missing one book by her, and it's kind of hard to buy since it's $18 for a paperback, and that's really expensive. And then Tamara Weber, Kasia Millay, and then K.A. Tucker, and then just two Jessica Swenson books that I bought. And then we go into some more contemporary, my Jenny Han collection, the two books that I have by Lily Paradis, My Life Next Door, Fangirl. I'm slowly working on my Rainbow Rowell collection, and then We Were Ladders, I Was Here, The Fault in Our Stars, and then the After series by Anna Todd, Prep School Confidential, which isn't really contemporary, it's more mystery, but I had nowhere else to put it, and then my 4 V.C. Andrew books, which I also wouldn't call that contemporary, but it's here. So these last 3 shelves are my modern classics and classics, so this is more of my favorite shelf. So I have Ariel by Sylvia Plath, the complete collection of Shakespeare, and then some of my Folio Society books, which are amazingly beautiful but incredibly expensive. Treasure Island, Fahrenheit 451, Brave New World, 1984, and then my Margaret Atwood collection, and then my little Shakespeare statue that I bought that I thought was much bigger, but when this came in it was a little disappointing, but I still love it. So this shelf just has my jar of bookmarks that I have and any other little book swag, my few copies of Frankenstein, and then my beautifully illustrated copies of Paradise Lost and The Divine Comedy. Then it just goes into things that I've read for school, and then my Sherlock Holmes collection that I am almost finished reading. And this last shelf has my little collection of the Nancy Drew books, which is the first 6, and then just some random books that I've read for school. Emily Dickin's complete poems, some Virginia Woolf, The Help, The Red Sisters, which was a play that I read, The Awakening, and just other kind of random stuff. And then these last 4 books, Blood Red Road, 10, and Unwind, I didn't really have any other place for them, so I kind of just shoved them there. And this last shelf is just my TBR shelf. A few of the books, After We Failed, Girl on the Train, Fallen Kingdoms, Red Pyramid, and Such Wicked Intent. These are the ones that I'm going to read first, and then we move on to the second shelf, which has just a few of the books that I'm going to read, but eventually they're not really high on my TBR. Ready Player One, This Is Not a Test, Starglass, and then a few books from a English class I dropped a few years ago that I'm planning on getting around to eventually. So that's my bookshelf tour. If you have any questions about some of the books I have or my shelves or anything, let me know down below and I'll answer them. Thanks for watching.